Hi everybody, welcome to my video. Today I'm going to make a pocket shawl on my Brother KH260 machine. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to need 104 needles on your bed. So I've already slightly put these out, but before I cast on, I'm going to show you everything else that I'm going to use. So I'll be using punch card number 8. And I'll be doing it on tuck stitch. So I'm just going to get this set up. So we'll just push that in and just feed it through. So now we're going to need to attach it with these little things. Put my other one on the other side, attaching these together so that the pattern will be continuous. And then I'll just bring that back to the line where it says number 1, and there we go. And because I'm going to be doing tuck stitch, the other thing that I need to do is make some changes to the carriage. So when you do tuck stitch, these move forward and back. You just put a bit of pressure and forward and back. So when you do tuck, you're going to need those forward. So I'm just going to attach that to the machine. I'll just bring my needles for a moment. Just so I can show you how to set this up. So remember, those are in the forward position. The other thing that you also need when you do tuck stitch is these little wheel brush things, and they've got left and right written on them, so you know which side to put them in. And they just screw into the top like this. Okay. So now that we've got our carriage all set up, we'll pull the needles out. So for this, I'm going to be using roughly 104 needles. So because I know how many needles is on my Brother machine, which is 114, I'll just count 5 down from this side, bring all my needles out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I'm going to be casting on with an E-wrap. Okay, so we're almost at the end here, and last one. So one thing to bear in mind when you're doing your E-wrap is you don't want it too tight, because if it is too tight, it makes it really hard to bring the carriage across. So now we'll just make sure that that's flipped open, and we'll just bring that all the way through to the A section. That's it. And I've got my machine set on tension number 4, and the yarn that I'm using is 8-ply yarn. Another thing to bear in mind as well, which is quite handy, is that if you have a peg just to weigh down your little tail on the other side, and there we go. Alright, so we've got that for 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to do just a couple of rows of plain knit first, and then I'll be putting it into tuck stitch. So we'll just set the counter to 0. And there we go. Make sure that your machine's in N. There we are, we're across. And just check that all your needles have knitted. You'll get to learn the ones which don't knit as well. And I'll probably need to just bring it across one more time before I can put some weights on. There we go. Okay, so now I want to put it into tuck stitch. So what you need to do is you need to flip your punch card over to setting number 1, and then turn on your side of your brother machine is where you see KC. Just flip that over to KC, which means card knit. And then we'll bring it across. So that's just gone ahead and selected all the needles that I need. So then we flip it over to number 4, and then we press the 2 buttons at the side into tuck. I'm just going to hang a couple more weights on. That one didn't knit properly, so I'm just going to manually knit that one. So always check to make sure that they are, especially in your first couple of rows. Okay. So that looks like it's all working well, and you can see here where it's tucking the stitches. So now I'm going to go ahead and knit 430 rows. Okay, so we've reached our 130 rows. So what I need to do now is I'm just going to do a couple of rows of plain knit just to finish off. So I'm going to flip the switch over to plain knit, and then we'll just bring that across. So now all the needles, you can see, are in one straight line, and I'm just going to do a couple of rows of plain knit. Now for the last row, what I want to do is I want to flip this dial on here to make the tension bigger. So I'm just going to go up about 2, 3, and what that will do is that will create nice big loops for when we actually cast off. It makes you cast off a much neater edge, and it's not pulling in tight. You know, sometimes when you cast off it can pull in really tight. Well, this will just keep it nice and loose, and it will look like it's sort of hand knit. There we go. So we've got our nice big loops now. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to cut our yarn, leave a nice generous tail, pull that out, and now we're going to cast off. So we'll just bring these forward a little. And you go the other side of the lever. We'll get into the next one. And pull through. The other side of the lever. And pull through. We'll get into the next stitch. Bring one the other side of the lever and pull through. So I'm going to cast off all the way along, and I'll see you when I finish that. Okay, so I've now finished casting off, and that's what my cast off edge looks like once you finish. So it's all nice and neat. So what we need to do now is I'm going to block this. So, and once I've blocked it, if you don't know what blocking is basically it's just trying to get lots of water into the fibers so that you can stretch it into the shape that you want, so you get more of a professional look after you've blocked your work. So what I'll do with mine is there's lots of different ways you can do it, but I try not to be too precious about it. So I'll just be putting this in the washing machine, and I'll put it on a nice cold wash, and then I'll lay it out flat and just stretch it into a nice shape. And it helps to stop some of this curl. So it will still curl just a little bit once we're finished, but that's okay, because what I'm going to do after that is we're just going to do a nice crocheted edge all the way around, and that just helps to give it a bit of weight and it stops all the curling. So another thing I'd like to mention, if you find my videos helpful, please press the subscribe button down at the bottom corner in the video, so that you'll get lots of updates on different videos that I'm making on various different knitting machines and lots of different projects. Okay, so I'm going to go put this in the washing machine, and I'll see you once we've done that. Okay, so we're back. So we've blocked our shawl. So what I did for that is I just put it in the washing machine on a cold wash, and then after I got it out the washing machine, I just lay it as flat as I could and allowed it to completely dry. Like I said before, you will get some curling, but the blocking actually does help get rid of quite a lot of it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a crochet edge all the way around the shawl, and that helps to get rid of the rest of the curling. So I'll show you how we're going to do that now. So we'll just start off with a loop, and I'm just going to find the end, so find the corner. So we'll just push through there, and what we're going to do is a half double crochet all the way around the shawl, and I'm using a 4mm crochet hook. So chain 1, and we're going to do a half double crochet in every stitch along this edge. So this is the short edge of the shawl that I'm working along at the moment. So into the next and half double crochet. I find that this helps to give it a bit of weight, and it also helps to give the shawl a bit of stability. Plus it looks really nice. So this is what the pocket shawl looks like now after we've done the crochet edge. So I did half double crochet all the way around the shawl. So when you get to your corners, wait, I'll probably better show you on this corner. When you get to the corners, what you want to do is you do your half double crochet, and then you do 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 half double crochets, and then you just work your way down the next edge. But depending on what kind of pattern you've done, or if you've done a pattern, you may not be able to go into every stitch. So just sort of, you know, try it and see. And it'll also depend on what size hook you're using too. So what yarn you're using, what hook you're using. So just sort of use your judgment on that. I find that the 4 works well. And for me, I did go into every stitch, but it will depend on the pattern that you've done. Okay, so now I will show you the next bit. So I have decided to crochet a pocket, and I'll show you how I did that. Now you don't have to do a crochet pocket, you can do a knitted pocket if you want. It's entirely up to you. So just use your imagination and do whatever you feel like. It doesn't even have to have pockets if you don't want pockets. Okay, so this is how, whoops. This is how I made this crochet square. So we do a loop, and then I chained 5. 4 and 5. We then poke through to the very first one, and you join the loop together. So this is just a very basic granny square. I love granny squares, especially the really simple basic ones like that. You can do heaps with them. So once you've joined the loop, you then chain 2, and then we go back into the loop. So with this we're doing double crochet. So you go pull through 2, and then you pull through 2, and then into the loop again, pull through 2 and pull through 2. Now with your first 3, your chain actually counts as a stitch. So we're on the corner now, so you then chain 2 to allow for the corner, and then you go back into the loop. So you're doing 3 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 double crochets, and you do that 4 times. So now we chain 2 again, and back into the loop. So double crochet and double crochet. chain 2, so whenever you're doing the corners, remember to chain 2, otherwise your granny square won't be very square. And this is the last one. So now we chain 2, 1 and 2, and we join it back to the start. There we go. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So then I just creep across. Till we get to where a hole is, and then you chain 2, 1, 2, and you do double crochet and another double crochet, remembering that the chains count as a double crochet. Chain 2 and back into the same hole. Now if I'm going too quick for you, you can find lots of patterns online for these. You don't have to use my method because everybody does things differently, so this is just how I do it. So then go down across the top. So we're going, because we're doing a plain granny square, so you just work your way across. So then into the next hole, into the next chain. So then you've got 3 in the hole, 2 along the top, and then we'll be doing 3 into the hole. As you work your way around each row, it will start to become clear to you. But you can find patterns for these online as well. So if my instructions aren't very clear, you will most definitely find a pattern for a plain granny square online. And then into the top there, into the chain, double crochet, into the next, double crochet, and then into the hole. So you just keep working your way around like this until you get your square to the size that you want your pockets. So it's up to you how big or how small you want your pockets. So I'm just going to carry on, and then when I've finished my square and it's the same size as this one that I've made just here, we will then sew it on. So I'll show you how to do that when we get to that part. Okay. Okay, so I'm back. So what I've gone and done is I've gone and sewn on this side one of my granny squares already for my pocket. And then I went ahead and I did some tassels, so roughly about 5 centimeters each. But I'm going to show you how to do that now. So I'll just flip this over and I'll show you how I sewed the pocket on. So what I did is I measured across this side, which I'll just show you. So it's roughly 75 centimeters across. So then I went halfway of 75 centimeters. That's roughly about 38. And I just sort of eyeballed the center bit there. That's the wrong way, so I'll just flip that over to the right way. And then we'll just pin that in place. Don't worry too much if your pocket shawl's not perfect. Sometimes that's what makes it a little bit more interesting. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stitch on my pocket all the way around, but make sure you leave the opening for the top. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this on, and then I'll show you how to do the tassels after we've got the pocket on. Right, so you can see that we've now got the pocket sewn on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just check the measurements again. So like I said, it's about 75 centimeters. If I can get that to stay in place. So yeah, roughly about 75. So I'm going to go ahead and mark out with a pin every 5 centimeters, so I know where I want to put my tassels and that they're nice and evenly spaced. So we've got that all pinned across now. So the way I make the tassels is I just grab my phone case and just wrap quite a bit of yarn, and I try and do a nice little bunch so I don't have to keep going back and doing this. So I just wrap it around a whole heap of times. Cut it, just pin that down with my fingers, and I cut the bottom. This is where a phone case is good, so you can get your scissors in there. So then, so that it's easy to do, I grab roughly about 4. Just roughly, and I'll show you on this middle one here so that it's easier for you to see. So I just, where the pin is, just poke my, oops, sorry, I'll grab my big crochet hook, bigger, because it's a bit easier. So I've upgraded to a 5 for this, 5mm. So I poke my hook through, I grab the tassels, and you pull it through and then wrap it around, and then you just pull all the tassels through. They are just so easy but really effective. So I'll just show you another one just in case you didn't get that. So where the pin is, I'll just pull the pin out, poke your hook through, grab your tassels, pull it through, wrap it around, and then pull it through. And there you go. So I'm just going to carry on doing the tassels all the way along, and then I'll see you once we've done that. Okay, so here's what it looks like with the tassels on. So all we need to do now is to just trim the tassels up roughly to the length that you want them, just to sort of tidy them up a little bit. Now I'm not too fussy about this either, so I'm just gonna roughly trim to about here, I think. I don't want mine too long because my cats will attack them as I wear it. And there we go. That's your pocket shawl all finished.